Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Boy. I'm your host, John Francis Fahey. Hello!
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Over there is Splaxon Bollock. Aaron Joseph Pita.
I'm avant-garde.
And you're making a mess. Shooting ropes everywhere.
There's your old spider chap. Shooting ropes everywhere. Now, if it isn't Peen Wolf and Peen Wolf Poo.
Oh, God. Now, that's
Is it?
That's genital William the Cumsa Sperman. That's handsome Matt Brousseau.
That's right.
That's what he was. That guy.
No. He was Robert
DP.
Robert DP. as
Genital Robert.
Genital Robert DP.
This is your first time listening to us.
But I like, yeah, we like to start you right there. It's a historical podcast. Yeah. I like to say that comes a spermin, like it's what it's doing.
Yeah.
You know
Comes
what I mean?
a spermin.
Comes a spermin.
The storms a brewing and
Do you remember when we being younger? It was only because of making that name up yesterday that I remember people accusing each other of sperming about something. Right?
No.
What?
Never once.
Never heard that.
Like, why are you sperming?
What?
No?
You just made up a memory.
Being really excited about
Nope.
something. Stoke was sperming.
No, never heard that.
Stoked, I've heard.
You got to get cool.
Yeah.
You got to get cool. Aaron, you look great.
Thank you very much.
Matt, you look fantastic.
Thank you, John. You look great.
Thank you, buddy.
Everybody smells pretty good.
Me too.
Not bad.
Considering the heat.
Yeah, boy.
But the moon is out there looking juicy
It's a
tonight.
super blue moon.
It's a super blue moon.
You guys don't even wear shorts. It's impressive how good you smell.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
'cause
you.
We're airing it out.
I'm deep welling mine. Gentlemen, we have to say we just had a wonderful time on the Patreon. $5 a month, extra show per week.
You get a lot of good stuff.
We covered Nixon. We covered monster trucks. I mean,
Winners, losers.
we went all over the fucking thing.
Yeah.
It was a great time. But I want to get into it today. Matt, you have something for us.
I do, John.
And now, do you want to tell me what that's all about?
Pivot.
Well, I guess I should. I'll set the stage then. How
Set the
about
stage,
this?
baby. Set the table. Whatever you got to do.
Okay, so boys, we don't usually know what goes through a person's mind, the ultimate moment of their life, the grand finale when consciousness departs the mortal plane and only the body remains. What we do know is the situation our man was in. It was 1983, another briskly cold winter night in Chicago. Oh. He was 63 years old, sitting in the driver's seat of his 76 Ford Torino.
Well, hey, that's a good car.
Yeah.
Good car.
An old fat mob stooge sat to his right, and a young fat mob stooge sat behind him.
Oh, God.
The man in the driver's seat, our man, he knew it was supposed to happen here. He had known for weeks what was supposed to happen when he got the first call to meet with these two men.
Oh, no.
How could he not know? He'd been in the business long enough. He'd done it himself.
Oh.
I mean, as long, if not longer than these two stooges, because he was no stooge.
No.
Okay.
And now, after all these decades
There
of
was three of them, though.
Yeah.
So.
After all these decades of extravagance, he found himself parked in the abandoned lot of an abandoned theater. An empty beater car shared the lot with them, next to him. Nobody in it.
Things do not look good.
Yeah.
We don't.
I bet there's not a bunch of girls going to come bounding out of that car.
No.
Yeah.
We don't know what he thought when he heard the rustle of clothes behind him, a hand finding a grip of a gun, a finger finding a trigger, and all of it rising to the back of his head.
Oh, God.
Did he think of his families, his original one, his new ones, the tits he bought, the money he made for the family that was now about to erase his future? We don't know what he thought in that moment before the trigger was pulled. Here's the thing, though. We know what he thought right after. We know because we have a recording of what went through his mind instead of the 3 bullets which clambered off or around his skull on that winter night in Chicago.
Oh.
And this is his memory of that moment.
Oh, God.
When they shot me, I could hear bang, clunk, maybe 3. And I was saying, what the hell is it? I am dying. coming to me. Just like, what the hell is this shit?
The fuck fucking shit.
What kind of fucking whack murder is this?
And then so he
How come I'm not dying?
The fuck?
so he faked it. He
I'm
started
sperming over, dying over here.
he started convulsing. He started feeling like he's like, I gotta look like I am.
Yeah.
And he's bleeding everywhere, and he fell onto the steering wheel, and then he heard them open the passenger door, and they clambered out, and he heard him drive off, and my good lads, today I'm very excited to bring you the story of Ken Eto, aka Tokyo Joe, aka Joe Montana, the Chicago outfit's Asian lieutenant, and the man who would eventually help bring them down.
Whoa.
Oh, Tokyo Joe.
Yeah.
God damn, how do you fuck up shooting a guy in the head 3 fucking times?
Well, we'll get to
They're
that.
stooges.
Yeah, it's the Stooges.
One of them's got their eyes poked out. The other one's fucking
Yeah, one guy's fucking running in circles on the ground for no fucking reason. Get up here and shoot this guy in the fucking head.
banana peels. Tokyo Joe.
Tokyo Joe, Ken, first name?
Ken Eto.
Spell it? Last name?
ETO.
ETO?
Yeah.
Got it. Amazed this one got by me, I guess.
Well, I didn't hear about it until this came to me from Dan O'Sullivan, I'm sorry. He wrote a Chicago Magazine article titled "The Last Gamble of Tokyo Joe." O'Sullivan is he's one of my favorite contemporary writers. He wrote 2 really, really good pieces about the Manson murders and Vincent Bugliosi just covering up.
Bungling.
Yeah, well, purposefully
purpose, yeah.
covering up,
All sorts of ill shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like sex stuff.
Yeah, the Manson was a part of the community,
He's an upstanding member of the...
of the sex traffic community
Yeah.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He was a purveyor of a fine young poon.
Jesus Christ.
Also, our friend Karen was a huge help. She gave me some great
nice.
research, and one of the pieces she sent me involved a mention of a documentary that was made about Ken Eto, which is where I got that clip from.
Very good.
And so, Tokyo Joe, a.k.a. Ken Eto, was born in 1919 in Stockton, California. His father, Mamoru Eto, had brought his family over from Japan 2 years earlier. The father was a veteran of the Russo-Japanese War, claimed the family had samurai blood.
Just like my Benihana guy.
Yeah.
Everybody says
Yeah, fucking... he originally intended to finish school in the U.S., the father, and then become a professor in Japan, but while employed as a farm worker, he had a religious vision and became a zealous Christian, and he would drive around California preaching to Japanese migrants.
Nice.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the most fun.
No. In the 4th grade, Ken and his now 5 siblings, they moved to Pasadena, and their father took to preaching at home to the family. Ken's sister said he basically established the first Japanese Nazarene church
Of Pasadena.
in their living room.
Whoa.
And his brand of piety involved violence, as you can imagine.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
He-
Samurai blood.
Yeah. He once burned Ken's younger brother's wrist by holding it to a heating pad. Ken's younger brother he says he doesn't remember his mom ever speaking.
Oh, Christ.
And she spent most of her time in her room, and then years later, she would be sent back to Japan and spend the rest of her life in a mental institution.
Oh my God.
Hi.
John.
No.
You can't pass. We have video. You can't pass it off as Aaron saying that.
Jesus.
I'm just doing the cutting the hand thing from the fucking Farley's.
Quacky.
No, that is one of the scariest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Never hearing your mother speak?
Yeah.
I wish. Just kidding. Dude, what is it with fucking...
Don't start with racism.
No, this was anti-religious zealotry.
Oh,
That's what I was going. The rant I was.
Or pro-religious zealotry?
I completely agree, actually, with what you're saying, and I've talked about this a lot. There's and behind a lot of very extreme serial killers and stuff like that. And this guy's, I'm imagining a hell of a hitman. Not to jump on your shit, but there's a religious zealotry behind a lot of murderers in the family.
Yeah.
Incredibly strict disciplinarian, like Ed Gein and those guys. They always have like a crazy religious,
Yeah.
Anyway, please.
So Ken, as the oldest boy, he was the one who had to stand up to the father and stand up to the white kids who harassed him and his brothers for being Japanese in California.
And this is in the...
So this is 1920s,
Right, so this is
1930s.
before there was, like, good reason, you know?
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Before there was good reason.
Yeah.
So this is the 20s, 30s, and so he's pretty old then in 83.
Yes, he's 63.
Got it.
When he was 14, Ken ran away. He ran up the Pacific Northwest and took a series of odd jobs. And then in 41, at the age of 21...
Odd job.
Stop.
He, at 21 and 41, he signed up for a government work program in Seattle. You know, it's one of the few ways, like, few documented early years.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. And then he, too, became a farm laborer in Seattle.
And what year was this?
This is 41.
41. Wow.
Fuck.
So a year later, he was arrested for breaking the 8 p.m. curfew set up after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Oh, God.
And the San Francisco Museum, I believe, has pamphlets from around this time of
I'm
these...
sure real flattering drawings.
Well, no, there's no drawings in this one, but in March of 42, this the enemy alien curfew, it was called. And it read, all enemy aliens and Japanese Americans in the western halves of California, Oregon, and Washington, and the southern half of Arizona will be placed under a rigid night curfew regulations Friday. Any violators will be immediately punished. If you were out after 8 p.m., even if you didn't have to be an enemy alien, you could just be Japanese American.
Right. Yeah.
They weren't allowed to buy weapons, war materials, shortwave receiving radios, transmitter sets, contraband.
I was going to say... It seems very unnecessary, of course, you know. But I was just thinking, no matter what, you know, it's Oregon, Washington, whatever. Like, it's anywhere in the country. The enemy aliens, the white guys have the guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like...
Yeah, I mean, you know, and they were hanging, you know, German men got hung in St. Louis.
Yeah.
During the war.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know... if there was a lot of spy stuff going on from Japan. I've heard more about it from Germans than the Japanese during the war.
Easier to blend in.
Yeah, but even in California, there's some German stuff that happens here, but you don't hear as much with the Japanese.
And so it's 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., and they weren't allowed to travel more than 5 miles from their homes.
Jesus
So
Christ.
what are you going to do for work?
Yeah.
Penalties of $5,000 fine or 1 year's imprisonment or both.
That's so much money.
It's it's bankrupt you.
It's an absurd fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then 125,000 Japanese, shortly after this curfew, were then put into concentration camps in 75 locations. 2/3 of them were American citizens.
Fuck.
One of which was George Takei
Yeah.
from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And one of them was Ken Eto. He went through the Minidoka War Relocation Center, as they called it, in the Snake River Plain in Idaho. And from the pamphlet about the war relocation centers, this is from the pamphlet explaining it in the U.S. government. The relocation centers, it says, the physical standards of life in the relocation centers have never been much above bare subsistence level.
Yeah.
And they'd be just like loose wooden barracks.
Yeah.
If it was hot outside, it was hot in there. If it was cold outside, that same temperature was in there. They had a wood stove, but they had to run it all day just to have any warmth.
Wow.
And so while in the camp, Ken worked the seasonal jobs. They would do farm work in the summer and canning in the winter. But mainly his thing was gambling.
Oh.
He called it his finishing school for gambling. He would spend just all day working on his sleight of hand tricks, working on card games, and just gambling as much as he could. And he would also say to a lawyer he would have later that the camp formed a great deal of resentment inside and bitterness inside of him.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, of how he was treated. And even in that camp, if you were in that camp, you had answered yes to question 28, the loyalty question.
Right.
If you answered no, there was a camp they created for the people who answered no, the bad folks. Wow. So even the people in this camp they said, we will be loyal.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine, he's not the only one who faced, felt bitterness and resentment.
Of course.
Even though he
Answer the
said he
question
was
right.
loyal. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the step 2 of being confined to your home at first and then being told that's not even good enough.
Yeah.
Now we're going to lock you up anyway.
Yeah.
Even though you followed all the rules and didn't break her. It's like, then you're like, okay.
But he was released from the camp early. According to one story, he said they released him because he told them that he was Chinese.
I was gonna say you're an Eskimo or something.
Oh, God. There's been a classic mix-up here.
Hey, excuse me, guys.
All the white people are like, this is so embarrassing. Look at his name.
Yeah, I mean, they don't
know.
They don't know.
They don't fucking know.
Dude.
Shit, you're a fucking hero. You built the railroads here. Hey, they put him up on their shoulders.
Hey, Hero's my dad. I'm just Ken, and that's enough. A lot of references there.
Lot.
Yeah. So after he left the camp, he went throughout the high plains of the country, lower Montanas, and it's kind of an area of the Midwest. It's east of the Rocky Mountains, but north and south from Montana down to Colorado. The high plains, they call it. He was a card dealer and a card sharp and a pool shark, and he just went around gambling. He spent so much time gambling that he got the nickname Joe Montana for gambling so much in Montana.
Oh.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the better Joe Montana.
Kind of, yeah.
Then the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, it'd be cool if Joe Montana went to Tokyo
Oh,
and
yeah.
dominated football and then
Yes.
became Joe fucking Tokyo.
Yeah.
This guy's Japanese, came out of an internment camp. They go, this guy's Joe Montana. Look at him.
If Joe Montana starts doing hits on people, I'll say he's the cooler one.
Okay, that's... Wait, what? Why did I agree with that? So quickly.
But don't you think it'd be crazier, though, in a way, to be like a Japanese guy in Montana?
Yeah.
Than
Yes.
in California?
Look like he's got that outfit off of Dead Chinese.
And then he's playing cards and doing tricks and
Oh,
stuff.
my God. By throwing them like fucking ninja stars.
He also became a little bit of a grifter, or I mean,
This is a High Plains grifter, man.
he was in Idaho. He ran some scams, and then because of one of these scams, well, actually, the thing is I guess I'll get to it. It might not have been a scam. He claims it wasn't, so maybe he actually wasn't running scams. But because of he was wanted by the police, so he fled all the way to Chicago. And it's there in Chicago that he meets his wife, Teresa. I believe that's his first wife. He would eventually have 5 children, not all with her.
Oh.
And he started running gambling games in Chicago. One of the big games they did was a game called Bolita.
Bolita.
It's a Latin numbers game where there's a bunch of round little balls and they have numbers on them.
Okay.
And I believe I meant to look it up, but I believe you pick some out of a bag and those are your numbers, and then they do kind of like a lottery with it.
Gotcha.
But and he started, when you start running games in Chicago in the 50s, you start
Turning some heads.
Yeah.
Making some waves.
Yeah. And but before that got that big, in the 50s, the cops caught up with him for his trouble in Idaho.
Oh, wow.
And he was arrested for...
That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, he also went down to Colorado and was a card dealer in 49, and, so he was kind of doing stuff, trying to find money.
Probably not a ton of Japanese card guys.
No.
So he's probably pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was arrested for, quote, obtaining money under a false pretense. And according to this statement of his Idaho prison file, he and 2 other men put in a bunch of money to buy opium. And when the opium arrived, it turns out it wasn't opium. And so Ken and his partner, they had, joined up with this one other guy. The other guy claimed that they were trying to scam him with what was called a pigeon drop. Pigeon drop is that sort of thing where it's like, you give me a bunch of money now, and then we'll give you way more later.
Yeah.
And then they just take the money. So that guy went to the cops and claimed that they had scammed him out of money.
I was just trying to buy some on his opium.
Yeah.
Sir.
I just want to lay around like on a shed.
Yeah.
I thought the guy was Chinese. Honest mistake.
And he, and Ken writes in his prison statement, he writes like, look, we weren't trying to scam him. We thought it was opium.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all wanted opium, sir.
Yeah.
Nobody wants opium more than me.
Have you tried
First
it?
to admit it.
First to admit it.
But you see, the thing is, I didn't know it wasn't opium because I'm not actually Chinese.
So he was sentenced to 14 years.
Good God.
But he only...
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, it's wild. But he only serves 9 months because he's a model inmate. They said he took classes. He was the best guy, and they let him out. They paroled him after 9 months.
Wow.
And so he goes back to Chicago, where now his wife Teresa, she has her own gambling games, and with them she's playing with members of the Chicago outfit.
Okay.
And so he starts, getting introduced to Chicago mob guys. And there's, according to an informant, at one point, he was late on a payment to them, and they beat him savagely. But he was so stoic during the beating that they hired him.
Dude, that's nice.
Japanese.
And that's one version. That's one version of how he joined the Chicago outfit. Now, the Chicago outfit, guys, you guys know, is the mob.
The mob.
Yeah.
It started with Big Jim. And then it was Torrio,
Yep.
and then Capone, and then it would,
Calissimo?
Calissimo.
Big Jim, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Torrio,
He's the first guy.
Capone. Yeah.
And the big thing with them is that they're not the 5 families. It's all just one group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, through the years, they run it more and more like a corporate business.
Right, it becomes the National Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
National Crime Syndicate, and they were tied in. And I think maybe
they really figure that out quick.
Very quickly.
And so impressive.
Very.
Hey, let's stop fucking around.
Yeah.
We're a business. Let's act like it.
Enough money for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough money for everybody. And the outfit also famously then is the bankrollers of the original Vegas.
Yeah.
And they showed that in Casino that, but the bosses could only come as far as Kansas City. You remember they had that thing where they would have the meetings in the back of some store, but it's all the big outfit guys of the 70s.
Interesting.
But they don't actually
Want to
go to Vegas, or they can't legally or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they are all guys. With the
they're mobbed up.
yeah. But yeah, the outfit also would go on to be one of the most notoriously violent. Guys like Spilotro, who Pesci portrays, they give him a different name in the movie. But he was an incredibly violent human being.
It attracts a certain...
The Chicago outfit was really, they could be very, very nasty.
Yes. And Ken could too. He started making just vast sums of money for the outfit. And, there's one, the Wikipedia page says that, he was making $150,000 to $200,000 a week in 49. But that's a quote from the FBI agent who would read his file later, and when she was talking about him, my impression is that she was talking about it in the late 70s. Is when he was
Right.
But even then, it would come, in the 70s, it's $38 million a year.
Right.
Which is an insane amount of money. But Ken rises up through the Chicago outfit, and he's so big in it that after, when he goes to Vegas all the time and he's tipping people $100 bills in the 50s, which is wild.
Small faces. That's back when they had small faces.
Yeah. And he's so big that after Kennedy's shot, he actually gets interviewed by the FBI to see if he has anything to do with it, or if he knows any mobsters that have anything to do with it. Yeah.
I'm a simple Chinese businessman.
I was just laying down on the grassy knoll, tired from my opium. I could have pulled the trigger if I wanted to. Kennedy took down 3 of my fucking relatives.
According to a Tribune article from, he's arrested in '68 on just for being in a gambling den, and according to the article, I believe he was making $1 million annually for the mob, which is about $8.7 million today. But
Wow.
they might have not known how much he really was. That's just what they knew from that. But he was he was brutal, man. He was about 5'5", 130, 140 pounds. Not a big guy, but
Savage.
Wiry.
There's a story, and this is from O'Sullivan. In '58, they questioned him about a gruesome homicide. Santiago Gonzalez was well-dressed when found in a vacant lot befitting his moneyed stash in the Puerto Rican community as a bolita operator. He'd been disemboweled.
Fuck.
Gonzalez's frantic widow said it must have been about gambling. He'd been badly beaten with a tire iron by some men the year before on Clark Street. Though she had not seen Ken among the men who dragged Chava over their house, she was unequivocal that a, quote, Chinese man named Joe was their boss.
Wow.
Hey, I'm Japanese.
Yeah.
Still keeping the Chinese thing going. Good for him.
And there was more homicides. So what Ken was doing is he was murdering bolita operators and taking their games.
No shit.
Whoa.
And so throughout the 50s and 60s, all of these murders went unsolved. And they would just be added to the pile of like Chicago FBI. We think
They're in that giant warehouse where they keep the Ark of the Covenant. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Dragged from their homes, vacant lots, throats slit,
Fucking
bellies
God.
slashed, disemboweled. And, but Ken's in the 70s, one of the biggest money makers in the whole mob. Wow. And
That's fucking crazy.
And he's according to his brother, he's regarded for his organizational genius. He was very good at organizing all of his games and getting, But and also
Their money just must have been astronomical between Vegas and guys like this at home.
Yeah, well, according to O'Sullivan, I believe, by the 80s, they were something doing like $6 billion a year in and out.
Yeah. And then they have like probably
international
the
corporation.
union scams.
Yeah.
Detroit's right over there.
Yeah.
Like all that shit going on. It's fucking insane.
And so Ken, he liked to spend his money too. He'd go to Vegas, and he'd gamble and he'd pick up strippers. He was really good at picking up women. One of his sons, Steve, said that the first night he met his mom at a strip club, he just immediately that was it. And then then Steve came along 9 months later. So.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
But here's a clip from the documentary of one of these Vegas guys talking about Ken, his impression of Ken.
But he also was one of the best womanizers I've ever seen in my life. He was a perfectionist with a woman, because what he did is if he liked them but they had some defects, he'd correct them. New nose, new bust. He was putting bust on women before it was in fashion. I mean, he went that
Good
far.
God.
There was some 60s fake tits or something,
Yeah.
Made of marble.
Jesus. How about those two guys? A couple of guys in like pub hats and like the glasses.
Yeah.
The glasses say
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
These are big 70s
Yeah,
sunglasses.
Tiffany lamp glasses.
This guy's just got a guy behind him saying nothing.
Yeah,
Yep.
just
No, and
nodding.
No, that was a very weird scene in the documentary because it comes after like all of the big scenes, and it's just like 5 minutes of these guys talking about me and Ken, and the guy behind him never talks once.
Yeah.
It's Ken's mom. He changed her.
So
Defects.
So he by 77 he is he's a lieutenant, the highest rank one could achieve without being Sicilian.
Right.
And we have a little chart here for you
Ooh, organizational chart.
of the Chicago outfit. This is Ken is part of the North Side outfit.
Okay.
Oh God, that's tiny. Let's see here. So Anthony Accardo, is he's the chairman of everything. He's running the Chicago outfit.
Jackie Cerrone.
Can you imagine being 71 and still being in that life?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, still-
he just loves the power or something, right?
Yeah. Not just I can't. I'm so tired.
So Jackie Cerrone and Joseph Iuppa were the right and left hand man of the chairman, Accardo. And then Ken worked for Vincent Solano on the North Group. Mm-hmm. And the other lieutenants were Joseph DiVaccaro, Michael Glida, Ken Otto, Marshall Cefano, and Leonard Patrick. But the amazing thing is going through all these Chicago Tribune articles, and finding Ken's name. Like, it's written about in the newspaper like it's just the most normal thing.
Yeah.
There's guys writing about like, these there's one article with him where the writer's like, these old mob guys, I see him staring at the strippers. They're really creeping everybody out. They're not like the young good mob guys.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, they're giving the mob a bad name by sitting in their basement headquarters looking up at the strippers
Oh my God.
as they're walking past.
Yeah, just like how it was so out in the open, and that it was all like they knew the corporate structure.
Yeah,
It was part
yeah.
of the news, and
Yeah.
yet still operating.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there's a part of it that is you're still in payoff time, and there's a lot of money getting thrown around, you know, but also I guess those guys are probably thriving on some kind of street cred to be named. But I would imagine there is also some kind of recourse to sue the newspaper, but there must have been enough evidence for the newspaper to be like, no, we're going to fucking just say, here's the whole deal.
Well, I mean, the thing is it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, because also they have the cops.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's such a, I mean, you know, it's Hydra.
yeah.
You know, you cut off one head, another two take its place. Like it's a gigantic enterprise that you don't just decapitate.
Yeah.
It's not the boss in a fucking video game. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole thing you got to dismantle brick by brick.
Yeah, it's crazy when it gets to the point where everybody's getting arrested and they're still going through with it. Like when it's falling to like Gotti's sons, and then that son gets arrested, and it's going to the next son, and like
Business goes on, man.
and you know, like you know that like every place is bugged. At least 4 of your friends are wired up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're still going through with this fucking charade.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and they had protection of the cops. Ken's son Steve tells a story about one time. Steve was getting bullied at school, and Ken told him, you know, well, you got to fight back. Yeah. And so Steve took a corkscrew, and next time the bullies came after him, he stabbed one in the arm. And when he pulled it out, like a chunk of muscle came out.
Fuck.
And the guy, you know, ran off, and you know the cops showed up, and Ken talked to him, and they went away. And Ken said to him, he said, the next time if you fight someone, you have to kill them, because otherwise you're gonna have an enemy for life. And he says, if you kill them, I can get you off.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But what about the charges?
Yeah. I'm not going to get you off if you don't kill the guy.
I'll get you off, son.
How bad do you want it?
Okay, Dad. Thanks.
So you know, by the late 70s, Edo's been working for him for, you know, about 3 decades. and you know, by 1980, he's making the mob up to $200,000 a week.
Fuck.
Which is about $38 million today. A year. $38 million a year.
Yeah.
And he says he's also giving $3,000 a week to cops, which is about $572,000 a week to cops today.
A year.
No, a week. I'm sorry, a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, boy, I wrote that wrong. But yeah, you know, you just
Still, that's...
and the FBI, you know, they're building a file on all of these guys. And so this FBI agent, Elaine Smith, she's fascinated with the mafia, and she starts at the FBI in the banking division, and she goes over, she wants to work. And so she convinces this FBI team that's looking at the outfit to give her a shot. And she starts going through the names, and she looks at Ken's file, and she goes, this guy's been arrested dozens of times, and nothing has ever happened with him. Like, he's been in the, you know, you look through the Tribune archives, and like, Ken Edo arrested, Ken Edo arrested, Ken Edo arrested.
Wow.
And it just, you know, that's it. And they're like the Asian hitman Ken Edo.
Right.
Fuck.
And it's
Those
just
papers.
yeah, just the most normal thing in the world.
Jesus.
And yeah, I mean, so Sullivan says, according to one,
I don't even fucking think this guy's Chinese. I gotta be honest with you.
It would be fucking Inuit or something.
but when you're making that much money for the mob, like,
And the cops.
and the cops, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. Now it's all the fucking telemarketers. It used to be this one Asian guy.
So in so this FBI agent Elaine Smith, she thinks Edo might be the guy she can help. You know, he can be the jewel for her her case against the outfit. Because she goes like, nothing bad has ever happened to this guy. Like, maybe we can actually get something and turn him.
But why? I would think that guy, if he's always getting arrested and let out, that is...
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
Also, he is an outsider.
yeah, maybe because she's going, he's Japanese.
Yeah, she's probably like this, man. You're Japanese. What do you give a fuck about these WAP motherfuckers, man?
Jesus.
These Italians, they don't give a shit.
So who is she again?
She's an FBI agent.
Okay. And her name is?
Lane Smith.
Got it.
And she starts, she subpoenas his phone records, and she starts tailing him. And
This is around 80?
yeah. And then an informant that they have calls and tells her that he knows the hotel room where Ken compiles all his gambling records. So they stake out the room. And at one point, Smith tells a story of her accidentally knocking on. So they eventually get the room next to theirs and like across the hall, and they start bugging it. But,
Oh, yeah.
And she tells a
I
story
got
about
one of those share adjoining doors.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she tells the story of one time accidentally knocking on his door instead of
Yeah, some classic White House plumber shit.
yeah, exactly.
Service.
And she did say when he opened it, she said, "Oh my God, you're not my husband," and then he closed the door.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, I fucking wish that I was, lady. I mean, we fixed that nose up for you. I
Couple of nips tucks right here.
I could park my Toyota right in there, lady.
Jesus Christ. It's a Torino. It's a Ford.
I had fucking park El Toro Loco in that fucking...
I buy American when it comes to my cars and my women. Traitor of my own kind. Jesus. Japanese guy with a Chicago accent.
Yeah, the best.
Hard to get some fucking fish over here, I tell you.
The fucking unagi's fresher than we've ever had.
So they wiretap him too, and they said like, you know, around this time, like there's very few wiretaps being done by the FBI, and they get one on Edo in the room, and they discover that he's using Chicago out, like he's giving all his gambling money to the outfit, but they're also giving him drug money to launder.
Whoa.
And so he has a deal where he connects with the New York mob and probably even Vegas guys too, and he launders his money through them. Through like penny stocks and various other mob schemes.
Yeah. So yeah, he's good with the organization. So he's and now he's doubly valuable.
Yeah.
It's coming and going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, with the time he spends in Vegas, he probably has connections there.
Sure. Guessing
those two guys that in that video were, man, who knows?
Right.
They look cool though.
They do look cool.
So after a few months of this, and actually a few days after Agent Smith accidentally knocked on the wrong door, this time they do knock on his door, but this time with a warrant. And Walter Mikas, the lackey who's guarding Eto, he opens the door and he sees the FBI agents in mid battering ram swing. And he immediately falls to his knees and vomits all over himself.
Oh my
I thought you were
God.
gonna say he was gonna like Jason Bourne the door opens and they then just go straight through the window and they fall out the side.
No, not that good.
I thought he was gonna fucking commit seppuku or something.
Dude, I bet you fucking Edo wanted to after seeing that disgrace.
I know. Like, fucking get yourself together, pal. Fuck. Jesus Christ.
I know we're in Chicago. It's Harry Carey, not Harry.
Harry Carey.
Jesus.
Guy giving it Harry Carey. What, he got drunk on a ball field? Cubs win.
And so they storm in, and they on the table there they find receipts, betting slips, piles of money, Ken Eto's tabulations of his holdings and returns.
He's very good with calculations.
And they find Ken also sitting at the table. This is from his FBI file. I have a picture of his tabulations and just how he was, there's just pages and pages of
Calculations.
Yeah.
of all of his holdings, or everything.
Now, are those redacted things, or is he drawing?
There are things that are redacted, probably locations and maybe names.
I was like, he likes to draw shapes.
Yeah. It's origami. And
doodles.
yeah.
On the side.
It's all dicks. They had to. But so they arrest him, and as they handcuff him, he asks if they can take his glasses out of his front pocket and put them on his face.
Can't see a fucking thing.
Yeah. And a few months later, he meets with Agent Lane Smith because they have a meeting, and he has to do handwriting samples so they can match it up with the stuff they took off the table.
Mm-hmm. Is she good looking? I want to see if there's gonna be some,
Trying to trying to seduce.
Yeah.
He might try.
Yeah, of course he'll try.
But she sounds like a one brave broad.
Her husband's an FBI agent too.
Ah, okay.
Probably not as good as her.
No, there's no stories about him.
Yeah, where's he at?
And they fingerprint him, and they do mugshots and handwriting tests, and Smith tells him, she says, "We would like you to cooperate." And then she says he takes her hands in his hands, and he says to her, he says, "I understand, Agent Smith, that you have a job to do, and trying to convince me to be a snitch is part of it. But that is not who I am. I know I may go to prison for some time, but I could do that standing on my head. I will never cooperate. This is nothing to me."
Yeah, I went to prison as a kid for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Prison. It's got walls there, heat, air,
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. This time I'd be there for
Cakewalk.
something. This time I'd be there for something I did.
Yeah,
Not something I was.
Yeah. Plus, it'd be like going back to university for him. He'd probably learn.
I'm looking to get my double doctorate.
Brush up on a few new things. Learn a couple of guys' tricks, whatever.
No ladies' voices. It's just like home.
Oh, if you guys want to see, I'll have all these pictures on the Patreon, of course. But here's a picture of his mugshot from Idaho.
Oh man!
Look at that cool, it's kind of like a glamour shot. They put the profile right next to him.
That's cool.
It's a very, very avant-garde style mugshot.
That guy does look like you would beat him and he wouldn't flinch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Imagine he just had that fucking puss on while these guys are fucking. I don't fucking take his fucking eye out. That guy's not fucking blinking or nothing. Fuck, Jesus Christ.
He's fucking Japanese, man.
We gotta hire this fucking guy.
This guy.
This guy doesn't give a fuck. Plus, he's good with calculation.
So the trial would take 2 years to finish. He put up no defense, but he didn't plead guilty and decided to take whatever the judge gave him. And he was convicted in January of 1983 on 2 charges of syndicated gambling, and he was set to be sentenced in February of that year. Now, in between the time of the being found guilty and the sentencing, he goes back home and to his house in Chicago. Yeah. And
So he wasn't considered a flight risk?
no, I guess not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because he didn't. Maybe it's because he didn't put up a plea,
Right. Okay.
and
All right.
he.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and those outfit guys now, I'm imagining, are conspiring to kill him. Also, by the way, John Fahey, just a little infant at this time, January 7th, 83.
Oh.
So
what? You had something to do
You're
with
going
it?
to fucking get
no, I'm
out?
just saying maybe that's why the guy lived. That's all. You know what I mean? I was like his fucking guardian angel or something, fucking looking over this guy, a little cherub. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they would take him out.
Yeah, you mean the outfit?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't snitch.
Huh?
He didn't snitch.
Yeah, but based on what we're hearing, in the winter of '83, there's an attempted hit on him.
Right.
So that's coming up in short order, I believe.
Okay, fair enough, pal.
So Ken's he's called to a meeting with Joseph DiVaccaro, Vincent Solano's top lieutenant of that North Side group. Mm-hmm. And Solano was the head of the group, of course, and Ken was told that Solano was worried about him. Ken hadn't been in touch since his arrest. And he explained, he's like, I don't have anything to report. I haven't done any of the I haven't done anything.
Yeah, there's no crooked business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we're worried you're talking to the fucking cops or something. Jesus Christ.
And then he's like, I'm going to jail. What's the point of me starting up the gambling things.
Nobody can do these calculations.
And the next day, Edo calls Solano, and they meet up at IHOP. That was the usual thing. He would call Solano, and and Solano's assistant or whatever would pick up.
2 Fruity Tooty Fresh and Fruities.
And Ken would on the phone. He would say, "It's the pizza man," and that was code to meet. Let's meet at IHOP, and I'll tell you like how much money. What's going on with
I
the
bet you that
operations.
through the feds on the wire for a loop.
Yeah.
Loop. It's a pizza man. He's fucking Japanese. He's talking to Italians. They're going to fucking IHOP. I don't know what from what. These guys are good. Apparently, he's fucking playing for the 49ers, too.
Fucking major fucking celebrity, this guy.
He said, where does he get the fucking time?
He's even an actor. Can you believe this? So,
That's Drew Montaigne.
I know. Do you think the FBI knows that?
No.
They have to get someone to figure that out. So they meet at IHOP, and Solano's annoyed. He said he's annoyed that Edo didn't take the trial, and because I don't know, maybe he thought that Edo was going in too easy. And Edo tells me, he says, "Look, like I'm not going to get that much time, and they're also going to let me out quicker because I didn't put up a fight."
Yeah. He's right.
And I can earn you more money
Yeah.
Yeah.
again.
But that guy is thinking short term.
Right.
And he's also thinking,
Why?
you're a guy that works for me and just produces money, and he's probably a lazy slob. You know what I mean? A classic manager being like, I'm losing my best employee. Wah!
Yeah.
What are you
Fight
doing?
it. Yeah. Keep gambling while you're out here.
Yeah.
As Solano he says appeal it. So Ken says he'll appeal it. And then Solano asks Ken about this restaurant that he just bought. And in the FBI's file for him, like Edo, he bought a lot of restaurants.
Oh.
Benihana's?
What's that?
Benihana's?
No, there was like I saw like there was a Mexican joint, some other stuff.
They called that going out for ice cream.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I'll meet you at the Irish place. The fuck? What the fuck is going on here?
But it's a good way to launder money.
Restaurants?
Very much.
And also then you own property with your legal money too. So you have and when he has multiple wives or ex-wives and he's got 5 kids and
You can feed them.
yeah, he got stuff. Yeah.
Was stuff on the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And places to have sex.
And places to have sex.
Yeah, the walk-in.
You're so cold. So Edo says that this restaurant that he just bought, or that he owns, Mary Lou's, named after his current wife at the time, and he actually has a guy who already has the money up to buy it. And Solano says, no. There's this guy Jake Campese and Johnny Gattuso. There's these low-level stooges in the mob. He's like, they're gonna help you sell it. I got a guy, and they're in contact with him. Work it out with them. These are your orders.
Sell the restaurant.
Sell the restaurant to my guy with them. And Ken agrees. He goes, orders are orders.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a couple days later, he gets a call for that meeting with those two guys. And Gattuso would bring his financial backer and take the restaurant. And so Edo goes, the next morning he goes to the meeting, but he has to drop his car off first because the radiator needs fixing. So his wife, Mary Lou, she picks him up and she drives him to the meeting. And at the meeting, Gattuso goes, "No, my backer, I couldn't get a hold of him. I couldn't make it. You and I, let's go inside and talk it out." About 15 minutes later, Gattuso walks out of the restaurant back to his car. And as he drives off, Mary Lou, sitting in the parking lot, she sees these 2 men in a car facing the restaurant also drive off. And the FBI, upon hearing this, would come to the conclusion that Mary Lou had spooked
Yeah, the hit.
the hit.
That's all it takes?
Well, it's one thing to kill, like, if you kill people associated.
Yeah. He's separated also, like, logistically.
Yeah.
So if there's bangs, she hears, she peels out, you know what I mean? Now you got to have another person sneak up on her. It's a fucking, it's a shit show.
Yeah, it's a loose end.
Yeah.
And so a few days later, DeVarco, he calls Edo again. And they meet together at the mob hangout, Oldsters for Youngsters.
Are you fucking kidding me?
God. That's the one that I looked up that in the Chicago Tribune archives, and there was an article about the leering. The guy's like, at their hangout, Oldsters for Youngsters.
That's what it's.
I swear to God.
It's a strip club?
It's next to a strip club. Or it's probably part of the strip club or something.
Yeah. I think it was a video series. I have several volumes
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, you know,
God damn it.
I think I had like 14.
but the crazy thing is that, like,
I think that's how old they were.
Oh, no.
everybody's
God
just trying to get
damn
their
it.
bike repaired. And
Yeah, no money. Well, you got to sell that fucking restaurant so we can get some fucking money.
His bike's going to fix itself.
Oh my God, he's got fucking Mary Lou with him. Let's get the fuck out of here. hop in your fucking DeVille and get the.
And so DeVarco tells him again, he says, meet with them again tomorrow night. And you'll drive them to Solano's restaurant. You guys all have dinner, talk about the restaurant. And I was like, okay, sure. He knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or supposed to happen.
Why is he walking into it like willingly?
Orders are orders. He's an organizational guy.
Tonight I get killed. And then, oh wait.
Honey? Gonna have to miss the ball game.
I think.
We'll see.
And this is the first time in all of these decades of working for Vincent Solano that Solano actually wants to have dinner with him.
It's and it's a thing too where you go like, yeah, because that's the thing too is that there's this almost appeal to vanity.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, it'll be my first time meeting.
Yeah, there's no way he'd run off.
If he wants to meet me, it's over.
Yeah.
We have a non-meeting relationship. If he wants to see me, it's fucking done.
Yeah.
But also the thing of a guy telling you, so you're gonna pick up him, and then you're gonna go here. You take him there, and you go like, at what point do I get killed? You know, like
I want to get this right.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially like, you know, he's done this.
Yeah, and you clean me up, right?
He's killed people.
Yeah, of course.
They actually, I mean, they have a term for it in the Chicago outfits called trunk music. Trunk music is when no, it's when you know at some point down the line, someone in some fucking Naperville, a neighborhood in Chicago or something, just they're like, this car smells weird. It's just been sitting out in front of my house and no one's. And then the cops show up and they open up and there's a dead guy in it. It's trunk music. The smell, I guess, is the music.
Yeah.
But you know, old classic. You know, Ken has probably done that at some point.
Yeah. God, man. Isn't it crazy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the Cubans looking at it being like, we still got these fucking 50s cars. You guys are just dumping bodies in them and leaving them in the street.
Can we fix that thing, Brad?
Give it a push, get it going. It's fucking...
Yeah.
So of course, I don't know. You know, can't remember if it's Ito or Edo. I'm pretty sure. But he knows there's not going to be the dinner. So he tells his wife he's got to sign the paperwork for the restaurant, sign this life insurance policy. Then he takes a bath, he gets dressed, and he heads out. As he's going out, his wife goes like, "Hey, do you want me to go with you?" And he says no. And then you can only imagine that she probably was like, if I go with you, then they won't kill you. Like, I heard that. But he picks up Gattuso and Campisi, and they ride with him to Solano's spot.
Did you bring your guns, fellas?
Well, of course, they always do.
Sure, those things are aimed right.
And they tell him, they say, you know, pull down there so we don't have to walk too far. Just drive down this alleyway, pull down this abandoned lot so we don't have to walk too far. And there's a beater car, no one around, one car in the lot.
Trunk's
no
open,
one's in.
ready.
Yeah.
No, usually they would put people in their own cars.
Smart.
Yeah. And Edo parks the car, and Gattuso's in the back seat, the younger of the guys. He pulls out a .22 revolver, and he fires 3 shots at Edo. 2 of them go through and like around through his head, but around his skull. One of them ricochets off of his skull.
Jesus. A 22?
Yeah.
Well, come on.
What are we doing?
I mean, you're close. I get it, but
Yeah. Do the job.
kind of a heavy hitter for a 22. I don't know why I'm so.
Yeah, he's really disappointed about the caliber choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe they don't want a big mess to clean up, like in Pulp Fiction.
They're thinking he's a little guy, 5'5", 130 pounds.
Yeah.
Usually it probably works.
Yeah, I get.
But he's fucking taking so many beatings to the skull. He's probably build up a nice thick callus.
He's a thinking guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's like, I think I feel a slight itch.
So I know he does his fake convulsing. He slumps against the wheel. There's one more shot. There's a third one. That's the one that ricochets off and it cracks the windshield. And
Cracks it.
And then
Doesn't even.
No, yeah. Do you agree with me now?
Yes.
I mean, we got a faulty gun here. This thing's moving at minimum RPM.
38 special at least.
Yeah, come on.
and
22. What are you, James Bond?
Gattuso, well, it's probably quieter too. Gattuso and Campisi then they exit the vehicle and they drive off in the other car. And a few minutes later, Edo sits up. He opens his eyes. He hasn't even lost consciousness.
I feel like a new man.
And when we come back, I'll play a little clip of the CBS News report from 1983 about a nice little piece on what happened after.
Okay, all right, that's exciting, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back. The boys. Ken Eto. Joe Montana.
Tokyo Joe.
Tokyo Joe.
Also,
Chinese guy.
well, yeah, I mean, kind of. He was also known as Joe the Japanese guy.
Wait a minute.
No, Joe the Jap.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
That rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. Alliteration,
You think it's funny he gave all those women nip tucks?
Oh, my God.
You just thought of that on the toilet?
Yeah.
Here's the thinking man's toilet.
Very good.
Thinker and stinker. So,
PP drinker.
let me play you boys a little clip.
Plays a little trunk music.
I like the smell of that.
What's that smell anyway?
The shooting took place in this parking lot behind the Montclair Theater. Ito was sitting in his car with two men when one of them allegedly pulled a .22 caliber handgun and shot Ito 3 times in the head. But he did not die and instead stumbled from his car through the parking lot, leaving a trail of blood before walking into the terminal pharmacy.
I understand this is where I go to die. I'm terminal. Look at me.
Come on.
Bleeding from the fucking head.
Got some gauze or something?
Yeah. You got a gun? You finish this fucking thing off? These guys did a botched job.
Let me show you.
Get a little David Lynch in there.
Yeah, listen, the louder it gets.
Yeah, the louder.
The terminal pharmacy.
I know, the terminal pharmacy.
Perfect. Last stop.
Also a pharmacist just being like, that's not what we do here. We do not do that here. Got anything for like a splitting fucking headache? Jesus.
No, they do there, yeah. So he goes in there and he's like, "Hey, can you call the 911?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So they call an ambulance for him, and
Got a quarter, champ.
but he, the cops show up and an ambulance shows up, and knowing what he knows, he's going, "Keep me away from those cops." He's like, "I can't trust any cops right now."
Right.
Oh,
On the
God.
tape.
And later when he
I give them all my money.
later when he was driven to the jail, he insists in riding in the back with the young cop,
Yeah.
not the old cop,
You like
because he assumes that the young guy hasn't been bought yet.
oldsters for youngsters.
Yeah, yes, there's that too.
This guy's not even fucking circumcised yet. I'm gonna fucking ride back here with him. This old guy fucking liver spots all over his fucking face. Fuck him.
He's wearing those fucking casino glasses. Fucking cop. What's he doing?
He's got a fucking visor on.
Hey, kid, you want some tits? So they in the ER they stabilize him and they find that none of the bullets even cracked his skull.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of stabilization to go down. He fucking walked.
Well,
he walked away from his own hit.
He has a huge headache and he's basically deaf from the sound. Yeah, but so when he met with Gattuso the first time and they walked into the restaurant, Gattuso walked out. As they were walking out, Gattuso opened up his wallet for something, and in it, Edo saw a sheriff's badge. And Gattuso says, "Oh, don't worry about that. I just moonlight for him, delivering server papers and whatnot. I just do some work for him here and there."
Big fucking reveal.
And according to one of the
He brought his cop badge?
Well, he probably brings it everywhere. And according to one of the Tribune articles, there's a belief that Gattuso went into an evidence locker and took out 22 bullets for 22, but they were defective.
Oh.
Yeah.
Trick bullets.
Well, I mean, it's a big gamble.
Yeah.
But I was born on the flop, baby.
Here comes the turn. He took out.
That's very, very, very interesting because you're pushing him to flip. And pushing him to flip with a failed hit is the exact thing that's going to push him over the edge, where he goes, I've decided.
Yeah.
Right?
So later that night, Edo's in the hospital bed, and the FBI, I think it's like attorney, like a state attorney or something, is meeting with him. And Edo says, "I want to meet with Elaine Smith." And the guy says, "She's in Colorado. She's flying in right now."
Did you get those new tits I bought her?
But this attorney, U.S. attorney, convinces him. He goes, "Look, I know you don't want to talk. You had a deal with them. They had a deal with you. But they broke that deal."
Meaning the outfit broke their deal, right?
By attempting to kill you, they severed any ties of loyalty you have to them. You don't owe them anything anymore.
You know all about fake loyalties.
But then if Gattuso is kind of this in-betweener, is it possible that the outfit did actually order it?
Oh, Edo absolutely knows the outfit ordered it. Why he believed they were.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, but Gattuso's a mob guy.
Yeah.
Who moonlights for the sheriff department. He's not a sheriff first.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just this back and forth corruption.
Revolving door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the U.S. attorney convinces Edo to become a witness against the mob, and they'll give him witness protection. And
a starting role in the San Francisco 49ers. Your new name is Joe Montana. Those plastic surgeries you love so much, we're going to make you 6'3", white.
The attorney is named Jeremy Margolis, and this is from... so he offers Edo this plan, and this is from O'Sullivan. Edo thought about it. To run headlong in the opposite direction from the one his entire life had taken with only a few minutes of consideration. This was the demand. Violence had always trailed Edo, had robbed him of his childhood, of his freedom, and had defined him. And then he had mastered it. He had found his place within it. He'd become a man to be respected and feared, but now the violence that had ordered his life had turned against him again. He looked at Jeremy Margolis and he said, "Okay."
Wow.
That was a good writing. And so he agrees to become witness against the mob. He points a finger at Gattuso and Campisi. They're arrested immediately. Then they send Edo to a naval hospital where he's given 24-hour protection. And, meanwhile, when he's having these conversations, like, they have to yell at him. They have to, because he's deaf from the guns.
Come again?
No, they're seamen.
And then, so Elaine Smith then shows up and he starts talking to her and explaining everything. And he tells her about the car and everything. She takes the FBI. They go get the car from police evidence. It's been 2 weeks. The cops haven't done anything with it.
Sounds about right.
And the FBI goes through it, and they find fibers and hair from Gattuso and Campisi. So now they have physical evidence linking them. And so, they arrest him, and they put these
guys just combing their hair
just
in the back.
yeah,
grease everywhere.
Toothpicks all over the floor.
Lollipop sticks.
Chewing gum under the seats.
Boogers on the windshield. Gattuso was here. Wiggers must die.
And so Gattuso and Campisi are arrested, and their bonds are set at like $2 million and $1 million each. And because the Chicago, like they're going like, this is too much money. They should stay in jail. And the FBI even meets with them and goes, guys, why do you want to get out? You'd be safer in here. Even though they also do find that they do find a shiv like in either or like next in the cell next to one of those guys too. Like the Chicago mob is already and
get Gattuso, Capizzi, whichever one of those fuckers. I don't fucking know. You can't tell them apart.
But
they got their hair all mixed up.
It's sick.
In less than a week, they both managed to raise the $3 million. And so, like, the FBI is going, like, guys.
Maybe you can buy a decent gun now, you fucking retards.
Use it yourself. Don't miss.
Imagine it was a deer in the woods. You'd be fucked. Guys in front of you in a fucking Lincoln.
It was a Ford. I mean, if you listen, they're making a Lincoln joke. And then
He was shot in a Ford theater.
That's right. Very good.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln.
Very true.
5 months later, they are both found in the trunk of an abandoned car in the suburb of Chicago.
What were they doing?
Making music.
Making love. Oh, these two guys are in here fucking. I knew it stunk.
Oh God!
In the summer.
Oh yeah. They had been missing for 2 days.
They put him in 69 in the trunk just to shame him.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, when they were found, their pants were pulled down. They were stabbed repeatedly in the stomach. They were also tortured, and they were both garroted.
Oh,
God, fucking damn it!
Because all of each of those steps is like a different meaning.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, it wasn't torture to make them talk.
No. Or maybe it was, but it was just like the garrote is like the ultimate shame. The stabbings, that's like one. These are all like different, whatever.
it's sentencing.
Yeah.
For the count of being a snitch, you get a stab in the stomach. Count 2 for being a fucking bad shot.
Yeah.
You get a pantsing. And then,
Yeah.
and then for being a fucking mook, you get a garrote.
Yeah.
Also, they didn't do anything except fuck up the murder.
Which is kind of big, John.
Yeah.
It is big, but like to get 3 different types of murder
Yeah.
is a bit much.
They're a well-organized outfit.
Yeah.
There are rules.
Then they started stabbing my stomach like crazy. But boy, were they not done with me.
Dear God. Well, see, but like you're talking about the New York mob. The Chicago mob. No, these guys were missing. Everybody knew it was happened, but when they're discovered, it's not like splayed in the middle of the road.
Yes.
Right.
It is a big scene when they're found, but they're also in this neighborhood which isn't associated with the mob.
Yeah.
So there's all of these walls are being built between.
Sure.
But a couple years later, in '85, Eto he now becomes a state's witness or FBI or government witness or whatever, and he appears at the President's Commission on Organized Crime and speaks of his dealings with Vincent Solano. And for some reason, they have him show up and he wears a black hood with the eye holes cut out,
Like a ninja?
Yeah, well, kind of. But like none of these guys would know what he looks like. The only Japanese guy in the entire Chicago outfit. But
They don't look the fucking same.
Well, maybe there's like thinking they're going to give him plastic surgery or something for witness protection.
Yeah.
It is the 80s, and I think that was kind of
I look like a new man.
But he has new tits now. And
Yeah.
Full circle, man.
Yeah. Prince Albert.
It's not, he didn't have one of these Tommy knockers. I knew, He's got a fucking El Toro Loco hanging out the tip here.
I tell you, you can't go to a fucking metal detector. It's a goddamn nightmare.
So he testifies about his dealings with Solano. Now Solano, because of his murders of Campisi and Gattuso, he actually does create enough space where he actually just dies of old age. Eventually, years later.
The head lieutenant.
No, the guy who's in charge of the north side.
North side.
That's what I meant.
Oh, the head lieutenant. Well, he was a boss, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Edo wasn't a lieutenant.
A captain, probably.
Yeah, or capo, yeah.
Yeah.
And but Edo helps with the federal Operation Strawman, because of all of his dealings. So the Operation Strawman was about convicting leaders of the Kansas City Chavella family, 4 figures of the Chicago outfit, and 2 of the figures of that Chicago outfit that are part of that are the right and left hand of the leader.
Yes.
And so Edo, he's able to explain what the Kansas City mob is doing because he's probably had dealings with them, but he's also going like, what they're doing with this money, I can explain how they did that because we all were doing the same things.
Right.
And he testifies and explains, what the right and left hand of the Chicago outfit are doing, and he gets both of them arrested and put in jail. And the leaders of the Kansas City mob, he helps convict them, this testimony. And then he helps the FBI bring down Sam Sarcinelli and his cocaine empire. Sarcinelli was using the same penny stock scheme that Edo was using to launder money. And then he helps the FBI bring down Big Joe Arnold, who was made the North Side boss after DeVarco was stripped of his titles. And then in 1984, DeVarco was arrested on RICO charges with the help of Edo. DeVarco then dies in prison.
Shit.
Joseph Ayupa, the leader of the entire Chicago outfit, Edo testifies on how he was skimming money and helps convict him.
Wow.
Damn. He should have been perfectly untouchable.
You'd think so.
Because, 2 guys and then the captains,
But wait,
2 under bosses and then the captains.
He wasn't caught for the murder.
Yeah.
He was... Or
just,
even
just money stuff.
It was money stuff. But Edo is...
Because that's all that guy is supposed to be doing is just getting money.
Yeah.
But Edo, because of what he knew, is able to explain how the operations ran.
Yeah.
And that helps, it helps the authorities understand where to go, where to look for information.
Yeah, well, now you know the flow.
Yeah. And Edo also testifies about William Handhart, who was found to... He was a Chicago cop who rose through the ranks and stole millions and millions and millions of dollars from jewelers. He would do things like he would have he would stake out jewelry shops, find out when their cars were in the shop, copy their keys, steal the car. He would even when he retired, he had another cop look up information about jewelry stores so he could set up thefts for them. And he was convicted of stealing millions of dollars. And when the Chicago Tribune writes his fucking obituary, his son is like, a lot of people don't know he is a really good family guy.
Yeah.
He was really sweet to us. He's like, he shouldn't be remembered for that. He did a lot for the community.
What a fucking ball bag.
And his son-in-law is like, he's really not that bad of a guy. His lawyer goes, every time he met with me, he asked me how I was, and he meant it.
I mean, you looked in my fucking eyes. I swear to God. I mean, he dead.
He gave me one every time he came over. He gave me one of them Werther's originals.
Yeah,
like my fucking grampy. He said, "Don't spoil your fucking appetite." I said, "I won't."
He gave my Prince Albert a little tug. I say, "How you doing, pal?" He fucking knock on my chamber door.
Rap, gently rap.
Quote the Raven, of
He
course.
said, "You ever fuck with birds?"
Yeah. So this is also going to be prime on duty Farina.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
Dennis fucking Farina.
Yeah, because I think maybe early 90s, maybe late 80s, maybe even mid 80s, actually. So Farina might have been more 70s Chicago.
Yeah, because
where
he was
he-
already in Manhunter.
But he probably,
And the thief story comes from.
Yeah.
he probably, either knows of
Still,
or
the guys,
heard of
yeah,
this guy.
the guys that kept on and stuff like that. Yeah, he would definitely be, he definitely knew that guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's crazy too because
Thief.
a thief. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But yeah, I mean, God, like I'm saying, like the outfit with heists, gambling in Chicago, gambling in Kansas City, gambling in fucking Vegas, and then the fucking unions and fucking Jesus,
Every possible
just crazy,
racket.
crazy ways to get money.
Yeah. And so Vincent Solano died at his home in 1992. And so after all of this, as O'Sullivan writes, Eto was the last one standing from all of these guys he worked with. You know, Iupa would be arrested, of course, but some other guy would take his place. Chicago mob is still around today. And then he took on the name Joe Tanaka. That was the name he was given. Or I don't know if you get to choose, but... and he lived with his daughter in Hawaii. Agent Lane Smith met with him there, and he was like, "You're like a daughter to me. Thank you so much." He liked to go if he was he liked to go fishing. He would just if he was driving past a lake somewhere, he would stop and go fishing. And he lived in I think it was South Carolina, and there's a family there who was like he was just this sweet old man. He never really let us take pictures with him, but he came over for dinner all the time. But they said he did let us take one picture at our daughter's quinceañera. Where he is dancing with her. And here's that.
Wow. That's cute.
Yeah.
Still has a mobster's glasses.
That's the style at the
Not
time.
really keeping a low profile with those fucking things.
No, but that's the only picture that he would let them take of him.
Wow.
And in January of 2004, an obituary appeared in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution saying that Joe Tanaka had died.
Shuffled off this mortal coil. Wow. Crazy.
Dude, our lives are so boring.
I don't know. I do shit like that all the time.
What, yeah, go to quinceañeras?
Yeah, man. It's called Oldsters for Youngsters.
Well, it seemed like when he was done, he was done.
Mm-hmm.
And
What? But yeah, like, what? Yeah, it's wild that he could
turn it off.
turn it off because those guys. I was sure we were gonna get a what would you call it, like a relapse or all those
Yeah.
all those guys that go into witness protection, Sonny the Bull, Henry Hill.
Yeah.
They all usually get caught with their children
Yeah.
in a like ecstasy scam.
Right.
Or some huge drug dealing ring. They always relapse.
Yeah.
And then they do actual time because they snitched. They didn't do any time, and then they do actual time.
Yeah.
But they're still well liked for some reason. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But this guy was able to switch it off, which is wild. But also, I guess he already did when he walked into his own death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was switched off.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe that probably really fucking helps.
And he was 63 too. Like
He was already at retirement.
he was already an old guy.
Today is the day I'm going to die. Out of sight. Wow. Mary Lou, you stay here. I think.
I got to see about a girl named Elaine. It's crazy, man.
It is fucking nuts. Yeah. And so that's how it ends, huh?
Yeah.
What's when does the boss go down? What year?
I think in 84, 85 maybe.
Yeah.
So not long after he starts working with the FBI.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. I mean,
Probably has some blood on his hands and whatnot.
Probably.
it certainly seems
There's
like
not
it.
a probably about it. He was disemboweling guys that played games with marbles.
Marbles.
And you say he probably has some blood on his hands? He was disemboweling men in fucking...
Okay. I want to like the guy.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, no, he's pulling people out of houses and
Yeah.
stabbing them to
Yeah,
death.
because they run little games.
Yeah,
That I want.
yeah,
My game.
yeah.
Just tell them it's my game now.
Yeah.
Just do that. How about that without the disemboweling?
Maybe he tried that.
He probably tried that, Jen. You know?
He's like, look what this guy's eating. Disgusting.
It makes me want to throw up.
That's awesome, man. That's a
story.
lot of fucking crazy shit in that.
Yeah.
And highly fascinating, like I said to you during the break, but I don't know enough about the outfit. But it's because, for the most part, they were run way better. And they didn't have the 5 families like New York where they fought against each other.
And kicked up dust.
Yeah. But, you know, but I did know that they did draw more heat in that way where they were more brutally violent.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking crazy, man. That is fucking insane.
Tokyo Joe.
Yeah.
Can't believe I never heard of.
But all of those guys is similar to the thing of the outfit's relationship to Sam Rothstein in Casino. It's a thing of, we found a talent and we've recruited it, even though Sam Rothstein's a Jewish guy, outsider, this guy. Yeah. But it's both guys that we know, like, they can do something we can't do.
Yeah.
And they can.
Yeah, and
they just don't.
In their eyes, they're not a threat because they can never rise higher in the ranks,
right.
so they can keep them at arm's length. But then that also ends up, it can be a bit of a
the thing is,
double-edged katana.
Yeah. And those guys, they're just going to reveal things once you're a reliable operator.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you the order and who said what. And when it's all good and money's coming, everybody's a fucking loudmouth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he probably just didn't even ask questions and just heard the whole fucking thing and then and then could snitch. You know what I mean? Because those aren't guys you want to go asking questions about.
Yeah, and when, it's kind of one of those like 48 laws of power thing, like never outshine the master.
Yes.
If you're never considered a threat to power, people they just look right past you.
They do. You're invisible in a way. Yeah.
You're part of the furniture.
Yes, you're not on the chessboard.
Yeah.
And of course he very much was. Mm-hmm. But only after you fucking put a fucking squirt gun to his head.
Hey!
What you doing?
This is why my people use swords.
I know. Well, Matt, that was fucking excellent, man. I loved that, and I love going into that world. It's a real good time, and I love seeing an outsider in that world.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Let's call it there. I'm going to say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
Sayonara. I'm Aaron Pita.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good night.